Sleepless nights at the chateau, visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Coach, wherever we go, visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Get a wildfire burning, visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Ace high and going all in, visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Spread it like peanut butter jelly. Do it like I owe you some money.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sam and Sid's cooking show. Tonight we're actually going to make a very simple dinner. I call it Mom's Chuck Steak Dinner. It actually was created by my mom, and regrettably her entire recipe folder which she left us got lost in a move. So this one's completely from memory. Anyways, just going to get ready, put our ingredients out here. I'll go through them in a minute. Again, one of the most important things is have a clean surface area to work from. Put on some kind of cooking apron or tea towel so you don't wreck your clothes. I just got back from work. So tonight's dinner is going to be a very simple, I think they call this a bottom blade steak, otherwise known as a chuck steak. We're going to roast it in the oven. We're going to have some rice, and we're going to have some steamed vegetables. I'll go through how you steam vegetables. Tonight it's going to be broccoli. So, first thing you have to do is get your oven ready because you're going to put the steaks in. So, we're going to preheat the oven to 350. So, like as soon as you get in, it's best to turn the oven on. Make sure there's nothing in it. The rack's in the middle. It's 350 degrees. That's where we're going to be cooking the chuck steak at. And we're going to cook that for about an hour and 15 minutes. Now, as I talked before, the key to cooking is making sure that everything comes together and is done at the same time. So we know that this is going to take about an hour and 15. The rice is going to take between 15 minutes and say 40 minutes, depending on whether the type of rice you cook and how you cook it. And we'll give you two options on that. And then steaming vegetables, gosh, that's not even 10 minutes by the time the water boils and they're steamed. So basically you need to do your long lead time things first, and that's going to be the chuck steak. So we're going to prep that chuck steak right now. Now this particular recipe is probably going to be the simplest and least complicated one that we'll actually cook here together. To do this, and this one is a combination of surviving and cooking, and I've talked about surviving and cooking in the introduction. So this is a combination of already prepared items with things that you have to prepare. Now the first thing you want to do is create a tinfoil bed for the steak. And you do that by taking two sort of equidistant, equi-length, meaning the same length, pieces of tinfoil and put them together. You simply lie them down, line them up, and fold it so you make a bit of a seam. Okay, and this is going to create, just fold it over a couple of times, then fold it back. And now you have quite a large surface to work with. I like actually putting a third piece right over top of the seam just to make sure it's fully reinforced. Okay? Now this is a really simple recipe. It really consists of dry French onion soup, your cream of mushroom, I think this is condensed soup, and your chuck steak, or what they call bottom blade steak. So I'm just going to take an onion soup package, mix it up good. Now there's three here. Sometimes there's just one big one, and it usually takes one package of onion soup and one can of mushroom soup. But because it's a bit bigger, it may take a little bit of each, a little bit more of each. So what I do is just simply spread this, and it gives it a nice salty onion flavor. And it feels a little light, so, and it's a long, there's three slabs there, so you're going to do this. Okay, a little bit more. Now I'm going to lay the chuck steak on top of the onions. right? That's going to form the base, like the extra flavor in your gravy. Then, take a can of mushroom soup, open it quickly. Next time I'll have these open. This is the first show, the inaugural show, Sam's birthday show. And I'm going to now just empty this can of mushroom soup over top of the meat. Okay? Just slop it all around like that. I think that's probably enough for the gravy. The meat has a fair enough amount of fat in it, so it's going to create its own juices and so on. I don't think I need to put another one there. I maybe didn't even need to put another one of the French onion soup, but I only took a little bit of it. So now the trick is to now create a sealed unit for the steak so it can roast in the oven. So just draw these two pieces of tinfoil together like this and fold them down. Just gently fold them down. Okay, it's important that you get a good seal. And then take the ends and fold them back. And now you've created sort of a tinfoil cooking pouch. I'm going to put it on a cookie tray like this. Walk this over to the oven. In the middle rack, put it in, and it's going to now cook for 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to set the timer. I know that the rice is going to take somewhere around 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and the greens are going to take 10-15 minutes. So I'm just going to set the alarm right now, or the timer, for 30 minutes. Then I'll come back to it, and then I can start preparing the vegetables or the rice. Or I can actually start preparing them now and just wait to put them in as it gets closer, because we want the entire meal to come together all at the same time.
Yep.
So ovens can cook a little uneven from time to time. So we just finished our first 30 minutes. I'm going to go in, I'm going to take the cookie sheet, and I'm going to turn it around, okay? Just in case that there's hot spot or cold spot on the oven. Now I've got another 45 minutes until this is done. I'm just going to set it for 30. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to start preparing the rice and the broccoli. All right, everyone, it's rice time.
Oh my God.
Okay, so meat's in the oven, and now I'm going to go through 2 ways to make rice. Okay, if you've got a rice cooker, it's really simple, and I'm going to suggest it's going to take a little bit longer. In the rice cooker, we're going to do this wild blend. This could be brown rice, it could be anything like that. And most rice cookers have in them lines, you know, indicating white rice, sushi rice, brown rice. Let's just say this is brown rice. It happens to be wild rice. And I'm going to make 1 cup of it. So first you put the water in, and then every rice maker comes with a little plastic cup that represents 1 serving. It's quite simple. You just put that in there. You put that in there. You shut it. And you press start. And it says here 50 minutes. But it's going to take 50 minutes with the rice cooker. I don't exactly know how these things work. I think they're magic. They could be voodoo. But 50 minutes to get this rice done. Now I'm going to show you a very simple way to cook rice that really can be done in about 15 minutes. All right? Now, typically we cook basmati rice, B-A-S-M-A-T-I. And that's one of my favorite rices. But we don't have any in the kitchen, so I'm getting some old Uncle Ben's converted rice, and I'm hoping it does the exact same thing. Basically what you do is you take a medium saucepan, which you have, you pour the rice in the saucepan, you then, and you boil water, and you pour the boiled water into the pan. Sam, turn it this way here. Let's go to the stove. Okay? We're at the stove. I magically just boiled this water in less than 10 seconds. So I've got boiling water here. I'm now pouring the boiling water over top of the rice, and I want the water to be about 3/4 of an inch above the base of the rice. Okay? Just an estimate. 3/4 of an inch, call it 2 centimeters for all you metric people. So, and I'm going to turn it on high, and I'm going to boil that rice. Okay? I'm going to cook this rice for 7 minutes. Put a little more water in. I'll stir it occasionally. Once it reaches a boiling point, I want to make sure it's not overflowing, so I'll just check it. You'll see in a second here. And once it's boiled for 7 minutes, Then I'm just going to put it off the burner and let it sit for 7 minutes, and it's done. That's why rice is only going to take about 15 minutes if you cook it here versus 50 minutes in the rice cooker. All right, we've got the beef in the oven, we've got the rice cooking in both conditions, and now the item that takes the least amount of time is steaming vegetables. So now we have broccoli crowns here, they're called, and really what you want to do is break them into florets. And so just I like using one of these knives, and every time you use a knife, let's make sure it's got a nice edge on it because it makes it so much easier to work with. So I'm just going to cut some of the stalk off to the side. Then I'm just going to move the knife in here and create florets. Okay? Now I have not washed this broccoli yet because you'll see in a minute why. So I'm just now working my way through and creating small florets of broccoli. I'm going to do it a bit faster here. Okay, so this depends, you may use all of this broccoli, you may not. Take some of the stalks off because they can get really chewy. If you really want to get fancy, you can peel these and cook them more, but we don't have time for fancy right now. So let's just say that's about enough for the number of people that are eating with us. What I have here is I should have showed this to you earlier. This is your basic steam cauldron. It sits inside a pot like this, on top, like this. We put water in this pot, it boils, and creates steam, which then cooks the vegetables. And what's good about this is, you're not boiling the vegetables and boiling all the good vitamins out of them like my grandfather would say, and they don't go soggy and lousy, okay? They just actually are cooked by steam. I mentioned we hadn't washed them yet, so what I like to do, it saves time and it's very easy. You put the vegetables in the cauldron and then you just go to the water and you use the cauldron here, the steaming cauldron, as your wash facility, okay? Put it in here, put that on there, and then off to the stove. Okay guys, this is your rice cooking away. Get a shot in here, Sam. You can see the rice is just cooking away, and we're going to cook that like that. It's on high, but I can put it between high and medium. Okay, so medium high. Just put the lid on, let that cook for 7 minutes, okay? And once that's done, I'm going to push that off the burner and let it sit for 7 minutes. All right, so the vegetables, broccoli, are in the steamer. Now we're moving it over. We're down to our last 15 minutes. The rice is finished cooking, and it's been sitting now for 7 minutes. I'm going to put this on to high and bring it to a boil. Once it's at a boil, I don't know, it's like 5-7 minutes to cook. We'll just test it a couple of times. What you do with your rice, now that you have let it rest, it's flattened out, and now you just, with a fork, you fluff it up. Okay? So there's your 15-minute rice. Put it back to rest. A little bit ahead of schedule there, but that's okay. We still have our rice going in the rice cooker. And now we've got our broccoli that's just starting to boil here, and we'll check back in just a minute. All right, so the last 15 minutes, we put the broccoli in. You can see it's steaming. That was just about 10 minutes of cooking once it started boiling. If you wanted to speed that up, we would have just put boiling water from the kettle, put her on, and it all would have been done in 10 minutes. So now I'm going to take this off the burner, and I'm going to bring it all together now. Let me go to the oven. We'll grab the bottom blade steak that's done. We're going to let this sit here for a few minutes before we open it up. And you'll learn over time that all meat actually needs time to sit before you serve it. We've got our broccoli here. We've got our rices here. Another 5 minutes on the rice maker. And then we're going to put the whole dish together. All right, so now we're going to put it all together. Sam, get a close up here. I've just opened up the steak. And you can see, and this is just you can literally cut this with a knife, it's so tender. But I'm not going to, I'm going to use a fork. And we've already got a gravy mix with the French onion soup and the mushroom soup. Oops, I dropped it in there. You can see that the gravy's already there. We got our rice. So I'm just going to cut one of these. Okay. Put that on the plate. Of course, we have two types of rice because we use two different methods. So, now this is pretty plain rice. Because we have a gravy, I left it at plain rice. In future shows, we'll show you how to spice up the rice to make it a little more flavorful without a lot of effort. We have 3 minutes left on the cooker. I'm going to jump in and just grab a bit of this rice right out of the cooker. You can see it's just a little bit moist. It's got a little bit of time left to go, no problem. A little bit of broccoli. And in an hour and 15 minutes, you have a wonderful cooked meal. Let's put a little bit of, some utensils here. Let's put a little bit of butter on that rice because it's pretty plain. It's always nice for a little bit of butter. Okay. A little bit of pepper. We got this wonderful sauce here. Just dig in there, grab the sauce, put it across your rice. You got lots of it. Maybe a little bit more on your meat. Voila! Mom's chuck steak dinner.
Spread it flat.